The next thing I'll bring up is body alignment. This is one of those things that people who go from shooting indoor and shooting outdoor standard set distances like FIDA, 50 meter, indoor 18 meter, have less problems with, but they still sometimes have a problem if they weren't taught this to begin with. But 3D shooters get in a lot of problems with this. And George Riles brought this up on another video. We've been talking about it for years. But one of the things that people can do is their body alignment doesn't work out. And one thing that you always want to do is have your hips under your shoulders. And some people will wind up with that out of line. So you can be set up and ready to shoot, but all of a sudden your hips are facing out there somewhere and your arm all of a sudden starts to drift this way. What that does is it tends to make you either pull away, in which case you're now doing this. Basically, you're just lifting your arms up, you're drawing back, and you already know what position is going to feel right for you. If it's not set up properly, you don't do it the same way every time, I will guarantee you run into different impact points every single time. What have you seen when people start getting out of body alignment when they're shooting, Jonathan?
Yeah, I've seen the same with the twist.
Mm-hmm.
I also see, especially with kids, um, how when they stand there and they're pushing their hip forward with pulling their shoulders back, that generally that's usually a pretty easy fix. It tells me that either they're getting tired or they're just not used to those muscles properly yet. Um, and so then we just work on it and
Well, one thing that's different about everybody is what their body feels comfortable doing. So remember when we talk about that cookie cutter stuff where they say you have to stand like this and you have to do like that, consistency comes out of repeatability. So if you find that and the blind test is what I tell people to do. I tell people to to go ahead and line themselves up with a target, draw back with their eyes closed, and open their eyes. If they have an alignment problem, meaning that they're lining up their body in a way that it doesn't like to be, where you're forcing something, that alignment, when you look down range at the target, all of a sudden your pin or your spot or whatever might be all the way to the left, or it might be all the way to the right. If your spot or pin is all the way to the left, you've got to shift your position so that you're more turned in but still lined up. If you do that, that's your body's natural cant. And now when you look and you draw, closing your eyes, open it up, you'll be in the center every time. The problem that happens with people is that they tend to swing. When they do this, they go like this and they're aiming whatever, but what they don't realize is happening is that in order to get the aim to come out right, they're actually doing this. They're closing their arms instead of shifting their body. So instead of doing this, like, okay, I'm off center, okay, I'm just going to twist my torso like a turret, they tend to close up, which means all of a sudden your draw is not consistent. Your anchor is probably not going to be consistent. A lot of bad things are going to happen. So if you just find out what your natural need to turn is, you can line yourself up. 3D shooters, especially, because you're not shooting on a level surface. You might be shooting with, on a little bit of a ledge, or you might be pointing down or something like that. It's important that no matter what you do, your body is still centered on the target. So if you're looking at a target that's at an odd angle, that's fine. But if you start doing this thing where I'm trying to twist myself into position, it's not going to work. What you've got to do is you've got to get yourself lined up to the target, draw like you normally do, and then all you're going to do is, if the target is further away from you, say it's up. Well, obviously I can't do this. And I'm not going to try to do one of these because it doesn't work, but I have to shorten the way that my body turns. And I'll explain this in a video. Maybe we'll do it when we're at the shop because I can have Jonathan display it for you. You have to shorten it. And George Riles displays this in a couple of videos he has. But basically, if you're shooting at the European, they had these European games where they were shooting like in burnt out buildings and like they were shooting up towards the fourth floor at a target. Well, when you're doing something like that, Shooting up like this, you can lean all you want, you're going to fall over and it's not going to work. And your draw is going to get shorter. You're going to do all kinds of craziness. So, what you do is you shorten your body and you twist your body in a way where you can twist away, but you're still maintaining the hip alignment to where it's got to go. But you shorten up everything else because you're doing what they call a twist of your body. That helps with that. We'll explain that. But keeping your body in the comfortable alignment that you always have is the key to consistency, and you've got to do that.